I I sold my house.
Right.
I then got scammed, so I lost 120,000 that way. And then it's just a vicious cycle.
Right. I want to ask you one thing. So what actually keeps you going and keeps you on a leveled platform?
God,
God. Respect.
you
You've said
be nice to each other, because the person you talk to might be carrying a lot of weight, and ask them if they're okay. If you can help them, help them.
that's right. And just be kind.
And be kind. If you can't help them, donate. Donate something. Recycle your clothes. Give them to a good home.
Yes.
So I've had my super since 1987.
Sick.
1987 they introduced it. So I was 19 then, I'm 57 now. And when I got my super, I had to pay $87,000 tax.
Wow. Yes, everybody, big up yourself and welcome to 24 Hour Kitchen. I'm here with Alex. Alex is here on a vacation from Australia. His parents are here from the UK and they live here in the UK. Alex also used to be here in the UK, so he knows a vast amount about the UK system and how the homelessness is here in the UK. So today we're actually going to be speaking on the same similarity and how the system is back home in Australia, just so that we can get a dynamics that we can show people across the board the differences of lifestyle, but the same type of issues that are occurring around the world. So Alex, could you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I'm Alex. I'm from Australia. I've lived in Australia all my life. I was born there, and I've lived in an area where there's 20% unemployment. We've just had over the last 2 years, 20% increase in inflation, but the services and social welfare hasn't increased as much over there as people need. House prices have gone up too much. It's pushing people out of home ownership. People that are unemployed or on a pension or homeless are different. They don't get paid. They have to find a place to live to be able to receive benefits. And there are missions in churches that help the people find a place to live, or get them off the street, give them a safe place to rest, provide them with clothes, food, and it's worse than it was when I was a kid. Now it's terrible.
So just highlighting and touching a point that you've mentioned with the homelessness, that they have to find a place to be able to get some form of benefit from the system. And how does that work?
Well, without an address, they don't know where you are.
But if you're homeless, how would you be able to get an address?
You need to have support. You either live with your parents or you group together and live in a house that way.
Is there a social housing system that supports people that are sleeping rough on the streets?
Social housing usually goes to single mothers with kids. It's hard for men to actually find a place to live. I live in a boarding house.
Right.
It's the cheapest rent I've ever paid.
And roughly how much is that?
I paid $240 a week. That's Australian dollars.
And how much is like $240 in English pounds?
120 pounds.
120 pounds. So if we times that by 4, that's 480 pounds a month.
Yeah.
It will be so hard. That's basically in the UK here right now, £480 a month will literally get you a bed sit, which is just a room.
And that's all I've got.
Okay, literally. So there's quite a similarity with prices then, basically, with Australia and the UK, because it's roughly starting from around that price here in the UK for weekly. Like if you was to just have a bed sit, sleeping in a room, just a room, probably about 120 to 150 quid a month.
Yeah.
Not a month, a week.
Yeah. It's been a steady increase. Pay rises haven't matched inflation figures, so you might have inflation at 4%, but if you only get a 2% pay rise,
right,
you're going backwards.
So what are the minimum wage for citizens there in Australia?
It's about 700 for a full-time week, about 700 a week.
$700?
$700.
And is the dollars classified in Australian dollars or is it American dollars?
Australian dollars, which
Right.
is roughly 2 to 1 to the pound. So,
Okay, so you just half that down the line when it comes to the UK.
yeah,
So basically,
$350 a week.
so $350 a week, which will lead to 3, 6, 9, 12, £1,500 a month,
Yeah,
roughly. Yeah. So that leads. And rent cost, how much is that?
my rent is $240.
So the 240, so we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 4, 8, 12. So that's £920 to £1,500 that you're earning. So you would only be left with 500 and like 80 quid.
I'm left with $415 a week to buy food, pay bills, pay for my phone and transport and medication.
Have you ever felt like you are on the brinks of being homeless, or actually almost losing and being?
6 months ago I was almost homeless.
And how did you overcome that issue?
I overcame that issue. Well, I sold my house.
Right.
I then got scammed. So I lost 120,000 that way. And then I went on the unemployment benefits. And then when I tried to work, I couldn't because of my underlying illnesses that I had.
Health issues.
Health issues that I had. And
Just sorry to cut you, but how do you cope with your health issues?
it's a daily thing. 5 injections a day, 7 tablets a day, and yeah, without having access to my super, I wouldn't survive.
So the 5 tablets and the injections, they allow your body to correct.
No, they keep me alive,
Basically.
basically.
And what does it do for you? What does your body need that these medications have?
Insulin.
Insulin.
Yeah,
Okay, so you're on an insulin,
Yeah.
and that's through diabetes.
yeah.
Right.
So
And
for 41 years I'd worked taking 5 needles a day, and then I've got to manage my diabetes within a certain control to keep my licence. So I have to have medicals for that. I have to have blood tests every 3 months.
wow. So
And so trying to hold a job and go to your appointments and things like that, you're having more time off than you are at work. And
Right.
You're affecting the productivity of the employer.
Yes, most definitely. And it must have been challenging when you first came across the illness but obviously you're regulating it now because you're more immune to the situation and know how to deal with the situation. But the first time you came across the illness or was diagnosed with the illness, how did it make you feel? How did you handle it?
I was positive about it. I mean, they gave me an orange to practice on.
Right.
And I'd pump needles into the orange, and I'd put the needles in my stomach.
Yeah.
And how the testing of your blood has changed.
Right.
I now have a sensor in my arm, and it gives you a reading on my phone, and it's got an alarm on it, so when I go low at night, it wakes me up.
Right.
But all of that still disturbs my ability to function the next day after having a low sugar at night.
Yes.
Get up, and then you've got to get back to sleep because you've got to go to work. It's just a vicious cycle.
Right. I want to ask you one thing. So what actually keeps you going and keeps you on a leveled platform? God. Respect. You've said a powerful thing there. Can you elaborate a little bit about God?
My faith in God is that I will survive.
You will survive. And what's your relationship like with God?
Pretty good. He's been good to me.
So could you say that again? What's your relationship been like with God?
I talk to him. I haven't always gone to church, but I have been recently. And I understand it better than when I was a child. When I was a child, I was forced to go to church or you didn't eat.
Right.
You wouldn't get fed.
Right.
So the going to church was sort of a punishment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
discipline.
But I always had in my mind a belief of God. And then it became unpopular to believe in God, so I just kept my mouth shut and pray to God all the time.
Right.
I didn't focus on going to church.
Yes.
But since I've separated from my wife...
How long was you married for?
34 years.
34 years. Why did you separate, if you don't mind me asking?
Irreconcilable differences.
Okay.
The kids had grown up. We were by ourselves. Inflation hit, and things just weren't happening, and it had taken about 5 or 6 years to manifest itself.
Right. And you seem like you've had a very challenging journey, and I'm sure a lot of people that are watching this video, they could relate with you, and they most probably likely have had challenging experiences on their journey. What would you say to the individuals that are watching right now as encouragement to just continue? What has been the most ultimate challenge that you've had, that you've overcome, and why you'd encourage people to just continue if they're suffering from whatever?
It depends on your circumstances. If you've got friends, ask for help.
Yes.
Find out who your friends are, because they'll usually, when you lose everything, you lose your friends as well.
Right.
Because they're not really your friends.
Right. You hear that, everyone? Sometimes when you lose everything, you lose your friends also, because they're not really your friends. And what this gentleman is saying to us, he is here in the UK with us right now. He's from Australia, and he's just giving us a dynamics, a little insight of his experience. And it is just so good to actually speak with someone like himself, and him giving us an oversight of Australian liberty to how it is here in the UK, especially someone that's also suffering from mental health as well, and the challenges that he's had and how he's overcome those challenges and how he's also stabilizing and maintaining those challenges, to be here, to be speaking with us today. How does it feel having mental issues? Has people treated you different?
Yes, the banks have treated me differently. I went to the banks for help and they pushed me away. It's as you get older,
yeah,
you're less capable of keeping up with the 25-year-olds and maintaining a satisfactory productivity at work.
right.
And when you're honest about it, you got to say, I can't do this anymore.
Definitely.
And that's what I did. I said, I can't do this anymore because it's going to physically harm me. And part of the Occupational Health and Safety Act is to stick your hand up and stop work.
That's
because
it.
I'm not supposed to do something if I know it's going to hurt me.
That's right. And how long now have you not worked?
Just over a year.
Just over a year. And how do you find that?
It's a bit boring, but I'm here now, and life. I'm just enjoying having freedom.
Freedom.
Because I've worked for 41 years, and the last 10, 15 years I haven't had a holiday.
Wow.
It's just a continuous
working.
run of working.
So look, this is a man of labour. This is a man of principle, and this is a man of etiquette, people, that has served a country, his country, and society, humanity, and put back in. And he's taking some time off now. And big him up for having a conversation with us today to share the experiences, because this is what it's all about. It's about us speaking, because sometimes when we don't speak with one another, we don't able to digest and let things off. And sometimes it's about listening to someone because they have something to say and there's no one to speak to. So it was great speaking with you today and just listening to your experiences and a bit of your journey, giving me an insight. It is good to just be able.
There's also the working poor.
Yeah.
They're working.
Yes.
But they're going nowhere.
That's right. And what's your experience with individuals like that?
They need help too, and that's more prevalent now.
You're right.
Than it's ever been, and it's all because inflation went up, but the pay rise didn't come with it.
That's right.
And you do that for 20 or 30 years, and it bites.
It bites. So look, what he's saying is that there's people that are working that also need that extra support as well, because it's hitting rock bottom. And if you could send a message to everyone today, what would be your message?
Be kind.
Be kind.
Be kind.
I love that. Be kind, everyone.
Don't be nice to each other, because the person you talk to might be carrying a lot of weight, and ask them if they're okay. If you can help them, help them.
That's right. And just be kind.
And be kind. If you can't help them, donate. Donate something. Recycle your clothes. Give them to a good home.
That's right, everyone. So if you've got something and you're not using it, just be kind. Recycle it. Give it to somebody. Offer it to somebody that's in need. Somebody out there may need something that you don't want, but that you may not value, but it's still in good condition and it's fit for somebody out there. So don't just throw it away. Just think of someone that's in need. And that's all this gentleman is saying, and that's all we're all saying. Just spreading the love, spreading the kindness and the unity, the together and the strength. Because people talk about colour, class and race. There is not such thing as colour differences because we are all one people and we are the human race, and that's just the bottom line of it. We have different shades, and that's all it is. Where you may look at shades of blue, and we're shades of the human race, different shades, different tones, and that's all we are. But the bottom line is we are part of the human race, and we're here together.
So I've come here and I've seen homeless people and they ask for money. So I'd say, okay, I can afford to give you some money. I gave them some money, and then I said, do you want a coffee? And we'll go and have a coffee. And I'll sit down and I'll talk to them and ask them how they're managing and things like that. But there's no services for them.
Right.
They're homeless.
They're homeless. You're so right. So look, homeless people, they need support. And you want to tell everyone who you are again?
I'm Alex.
That's it. And Alex, tell them where you're from?
Australia.
And look, Alex is on vacation, people, yeah? So one love to Alex. And
I'm okay now. I've got my super.
you got your super. And what is the super?
Super is when you're working, 10% of your income, or now it's pushing up to 12% of your income,
Yeah.
is preserved and managed in a super fund
Right.
on the share market,
Yes.
and it has growth over time.
Yes.
So I've had my super since 1987.
Sick.
1987 they introduced it. So I was 19 then, I'm 57 now, and when I got my super I had to pay $87,000 tax.
Wow. $87,000. So I hope you're getting some of that back.
Technically my income with the tax department for last year was $406,000.
Okay. Wow, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, and 20% of my super has just vanished by the government.
Just like that.
Just like that.
They're taking. They're always taking. But Alex, thank you very much for your time today. And yeah, it's nice talking to you.
Thank you.
Respect. Respect, Alex. Love.